wins a critical march. The joy and jubilation that erupts in the streets of Nigeria is massive. For those moments, the daily struggles of life, economic instability, political tension, and societal divides are momentarily forgotten. Football as a uniting force will be our focus on the program, Nigeria Today. Thanks for joining us. I am Eucharia Clinton. Joining me in the studio for the conversation is Amma Ignis from Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, and also is a sports journalist. It's good to have you on Nigeria Today.
My pleasure, Eucharia. Nice to be here.
Now, without much ado, we've, with my introduction, we talked about before we go into the program proper. We have another guest joining us via Zoom. Jacob Oyekale is a sports analyst. We are glad to have you in Nigeria Today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Now, just like I was talking, Amma, during the introduction, we talked about how football, of course, has been a force. Whenever you talk about football, you see, for everybody now, because I wanted to say the men, but now the women are all part of it. You see joy on people's faces. Now, why do we call this game a unifying force?
It's an amazing game. In Argentina, it is worshipped. In Brazil, they eat, drink, and sleep with football. I'm talking about countries that have made name. And in England, have you ever imagined what happens if England loses a match since they won their first World Cup in 1966? England has struggled to get the World Cup trophy again. It unites a lot of people. It has a connection. There's a spirit about it. Because, for example, I played oranges. There is what we call bolombolo. And there's this thick one that people mold for us. Sometimes when we chew gum, we'll wrap it around until it becomes big. And we'll kick the streets with it. We'll form what is called monkey pose. Or we start playing sets. That shows you the love is being developed from the cradle, from when we were very young. And if you look at football today, it has revolved. Whether it is originated from Italy or from China or from America, but Europe has modified it. What we have now is modern football. And it has evolved over time that there has been scientific approaches and measures. It is called a beautiful game, like you rightly capped it out. So I think the spirit behind it is everybody wants to see the likes of Okocha dazzle you, dribble you to the left, Maradona, Pele. These are great names that they are delight to watch. Their skills, the maneuvers, their schemes. Or you see Emmanuel Okala in goal, you see Vincent Enyama in goal. In 1994, Nigeria got to its zenith, number 2 globally in FIFA ranking. It was a celebration. We had some of the greatest players in the world. Headmaster Mutiu Adepoju, Wing Wizard Emmanuel Amunike, and the Mercurial JJ Okocha.
We had the excitement back then. The excitement, I don't forget it.
Some people, if they are not watching, they are listening to radio. That's the fun and excitement football brings. And over time, you can see that if you get the object itself, scientifically it has been improved. Some balls are faster than the other. What we had those days are not what we have today. So players or coaches need to learn the kick method. So it's actually a unifying factor. People go to war using football, but they don't carry weapons. But people like to see one player knock the ball around or win and all that.
I'll have to stop you here so that Jacob can come in here. So, Jacob, the world is celebrating the game of football today. Just like Amma has said, it has evolved over the years. Now, talk to us. What does this mean to you as a Nigerian?
thanks for having me. In Brazil, they call it Jogo Bonito. In Spain, they call it, in Spain, it is known as the tiki-taka. In Italy, it is known as the Cantanisio. And in Nigeria, we know we play the wing football. The joy that evolves around football knows no bound. That is why Pele, after playing it all and winning 3 World Cups, he branded it the beautiful game. In America, they call it soccer. And you cannot see the end of football. Football itself is a big business. That is the reason why the FIFA World Cup is the largest gathering of sport, a single sport in the entire globe. At the World Cup, you have the audience worldwide shut down. Even ordinary Europe, when you talk about the Champions League, the anticipation that is always awaiting watching the Champions League sends fever all around the globe, talk less of the World Cup. So football itself is a spirit, just like Amma has said. It is not just a spirit, but football itself has become a being. That is the reason, that is why some people anticipate that the weekend should come so that they can watch the game of football. And beyond entertainment, football has been a way out of poverty for millions from time immemorial. Sorry. So football itself has been a way of life. It's a big business, and it has become a global brand that people come to celebrate. In Cote d'Ivoire, when there was a civil war, it took a footballer, DJ Drogba, for the war to stop. When he went to the war front, and everybody held their guns and ammunition, and they stood still. So football, the popularity knows no bound, and I don't believe that there is anywhere in the world, go to any nook and cranny, you see people celebrating football.
Thank you, Jacob. Now back to you, Amma. Of course, Jacob has reeled out the different names, people from different parts of the world called football. I just wish we have a special name for it here in Nigeria. I've not really thought about it.
Whatever name you call it, but we still call it football in Nigeria. Maybe in our local parlance, the Yorubas will say ayo, the Igbos will say bolo. In pidgin parlance, and I let that with they play. You know, and those, you can see people have metamorphosed several things, like going into a song. They call Agbabolo. There is a song that is resonating the ears of almost every Nigerian because of what our daughter has done, Aziza Toshola, who has been severally African Footballer of the Year. Like Jacob said, he's my very good friend. Jacob, how you doing? Nice to see you that you're part of this show. Football has also become big business. It's a way of culture of a lot of people. It's become our culture in Nigeria. You see, when we won it for the first time in 1980, when, may he so rest in peace, Chairman Christian Chukwu, he got nicknamed as chairman because of his authority on the pitch, his commandeering presence. The likes of Segun Odegbami, you know, the likes of Muda Lawal, may he so also rest in peace, Alosho Satrego. Now, that game brought Nigeria more together, especially coming out of the Civil War, and check from when the war in Nigeria ended to when we lifted the African Cup of Nations.
But while you're talking about that, I also want you to talk to us about the impact it has had in breaking barriers, the barriers such as Strive, you know.
Okay, let me look for use for example Osimhen Victor, who is in Galatasaray. you see what has happened. Everybody wants to identify with him. Obviously, undoubtedly, apart from Lukman that has come to be crowned the current African Footballer of the Year, the impact football has could make you go to Uyo, could make you go to Germany, any part of the world, do business. There is an ex-footballer, Florence, at the National Stadium here. Football has taken her, she has attended the World Cup almost 3 times. She goes to sell her food. That's an impact. That's business for her. And if Nigeria is not qualifying to win the World Cup or qualifying matches, she's not in a good mood. She cries. She feels she's a loss. It's a loss for her. Facilities are built. Everybody wants to sit out. Families will go and watch, you know. And then people get united, no matter your language. That's why you see professional football, the coaches don't know the language or the tribe you come from. They want to see the fine footballer in you. That is why Victor Osimhen is highly celebrated and one of the greatest sought-after player in the world right now. I make bold to say it. Nigerians are making waves all over the world. It is because of football. Our country is gaining a good PR there. They could talk so much about us in terms of leadership, but it's covered up all into sports called football, the beautiful game, like Pele called it. Jacob mentioned it while he was on. So the impact of football is beyond barrier. It is as cemented. Adebayo, he bears a Nigerian name, playing for Togo. Some Nigerians through football are in Benin Republic. Our coaches, even the dead Stephen Keshi and Chairman Chuku, they have gone to other countries to coach. They have been accepted by other countries, just like we have other nationals who are playing here in our league, in our Premier League, Nigeria Premier Football League, that just ended on Sunday. So FIFA could come here to see what we are doing. FIFA comes here to invest. They are what are called gold projects. They build pitches so that youngsters, young ones can be harnessed, talents can be harnessed, young ones can grow. And that is why FIFA has come to say, even in women football, FIFA calls it women football. They are also investing a lot in women football. Even as we speak, do you know that the National Sports Festival, football is being showcased? Like our under 17 women are playing football in Abeokuta. And so it means a lot. Because they don't, the fan it commands, it generates, is an interest game, an overwhelming interest game, that the passion and enthusiasm is too much.
Thank you very much, Ama. Now, Jacob, Ama has mentioned quite a lot that football is doing, whether within the country or even beyond. Now, how can we maximize the many advantages of this beautiful game, like you rightly called it? How can we maximize it to better our lots in this country?
Yeah, I think Nigeria is not short of human resources in the game of football. And if you look at globally now, football is a big business. You look at it, if you want to invest in football, for example, in Brazil, in the 50s and 60s, the country looked inward and said, football must be part of our GDP. They invested in their facilities. And there a law was promulgated that any player leaving the shores of Brazil, bulk of the transfer fee goes into the coffers of the government. Just as Nigeria depended solely on crude oil, they depended solely on the exportation of their footballers. And because they have good statistics for it, annually, Brazil exports more than 500 footballers outside the shores of Brazil to Asia, to Europe, even to Africa. And that grew their GDP. If Nigeria can take a template, I think we must be dedicated and disciplined. Football should go beyond politics in Nigeria. It should be a game that is managed by technocrats. It should be treated like a business. Then we begin to reap the dividends of football. In England today, football itself is an industry. The Premier League is the singular league that has the highest number of income. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, we cannot say the same. That is because of, let me say, bad management. But we are on the road to recovery. Look at our league, for example. Can it be said to be one of the best in Africa? Yet we say we are the giant of Africa. Football should go beyond being a political tools in the house of politicians that wants to run campaign. It should be an independent game that will stand on its own. Football, if it is well established, sorry, it can be a conveyor belt of employment generation. That is because every aspect of football, from branding, the tailor that will sew the jersey, to the manufacturer that will manufacture the boots, to those that will manufacture the football, to the sport medics, the doctors, the nurses, the driver, those planting the grass, the cleaner, the food vendor, the electrician, the technician, and everything. You see that it's a circle of employment generation. Thereby, the gain, maximizing the gain cannot be overemphasized. It is an industry of its own that can provide employment generation. And you see it cut across the hospitality industry, because when you come to play football, you lodge in a hotel. You have to use the transportation, and that you need to improve your transportation system. That is the reason why if you are hosting a major competition like the World Cup, the ripple effect lasts on the economy of the country for 5 to 10 years.
Very much, Jacob. I know. If we leave you, you go on and on, because there's quite a lot. Just like you've been, telling us there. Now, talk to us. In spite of a lot of things that football has done and is still doing, it's been a unifying factor. We still have certain, will I say, some of the shortfalls, challenges, like we see fan rivalry, we see violence, and all of that. So how can we address these issues for it not to be an issue, that will affect the unifying force that football has been?
In sports, I don't want to say football only now. In sports, we have this saying that you win some, you lose some. That means even when you are defeated in a game, using football as a case study, it's not a do or die affair.
Some say it as that.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to answer your question. We need a lot of education. Okay. The club sides, we need a lot of education. That see, you are as good as you display or the result you get on the pitch of play. Let the best win, the team win. That has been the slogan of FIFA, and FIFA has always preached fair play. But I think Nigeria has a lot to do. I thank God that we have a Director General and a Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Honorable Bukola Olakpade, and Shehu Diko. I'm not trying to make case for them. I believe they have started well. The National Sports Festival in Ogun State is a case study for them to prove what they can do with sports in Nigeria. But when we come to football or other sports too, I have to add other sports, because we have to have enough facilities. We don't have. The only pitch that FIFA has approved in Nigeria is the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, otherwise known as the Nest of Champions. The National Stadium Abuja, where football can be played, which has seen us host the Under-17 World Cup, and perhaps some other qualifiers involving the Super Eagles and the Falcons have remained in shambles, especially the pitch. Why do you give out that pitch to schools to do inter-house sports? Do you know the Wembley Stadium? Can you go there and do inter-house sports? It has to be a reserved altar of football where only the big games will be played, not where school children will go and be doing inter-house sports, or churches will set big equipments to step down on the pitches and the facilities. We have to allow more of that facility and the maintenance as well. We have one of the best indoors for basketball. So we need to do a lot of awareness, education, because if a fan of let me use Academy Warriors for example, if they are defeated in Bornu because they didn't play well, they should be able to embrace it, embrace defeat, and clap for the victorious team. That would, because football encourages fairness, camaraderie in a way, for you to applaud and cheer the winning team, and even in a way motivate the team that went down. Because you can see that some teams play so well that in the end they don't get the result they wanted. Will you crucify such a team or such a coach or player? No, you have to keep encouraging them. That's why I think gradually also we should see government should be leaning out. They should lean out of handling of football, using them as political tools, as like Jacob rightly pointed out, because only technocrats can handle football club. They know what the organogram should look like, the setup. You need a masseur, you need a medic under masseur, you need a psychologist, you need this. Look at what has happened in Brazil. Ancelotti has been appointed by Brazil.
I'll have to stop you
That
here.
is how serious they have taken football.
Thank you very much, Amma. I'll have to stop you here so that Jacob can just give us, even if it's 30 seconds. Jacob, just give us, tell us, you know, what message would you have for young footballers and the role they play beyond the pitch?
Well, the little advice I have for them is that you can actually mix education with football. Everybody might not be that engineer, architect, doctor, but you can mix education with football, because with education, it takes you to the heights. And football, as a player, it has a lifespan. So when you retire from football, you won't go cap in hand, begging after your career in football. So I encourage the young ones to mix education with football. And another thing I want to say, one of the interesting things about that football has brought to my own life growing up as a kid, when you hear the name Chairman Christian Chuku, Mathematical Degbami, Owo Blow, Aloysius Atuebu, Blockbuster, and a whole lot of other Henry Wosu, Schoolboy International, when you hear Samson Ozokula, Zion Trade, when you hear the names of Elastic Elaho, the likes of Augustine Eguavon Cerezo, the Ghost Father Rashidi Yekini, the Mercurial Magician, Football Magician, J.J. Okocha, Dan Dabul Amakachi, and the list is endless.
Thank you very much, Jacob. That was Jacob Oyekale, sports analyst. Thank you so much for that long list.
Has become a semi-demigod.
We have to end it here, Amma.
Because
I know
but let me say happy World Footballing Day.
Thank you.
Because yesterday was actually, and we have to thank Infantino and the UN Assembly for uniting to support this global union, actually. They have continued to spread peace, love, and togetherness.
Thank you so much, Amma Ignace from Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN. He's also a sports journalist. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure
on the
being here, Eukaria. Keep
up
the good job.
Thank you. And thank you for being part of the program. I am Eukaria Clinton. Goodbye.